Hello, everyone. On our podcast show this week, we will be talking about the X Factor, the X-Man,
X-Man.
Elon Musk. He's been up to a few things in the last while, which we haven't touched on our podcast show yet. But we wanted to kind of consolidate this in one particular episode and kind of give our thoughts on some of the things that he's been up to that have been shaking up multiple industries, including the EV industry. Yeah. With me every week all the time is Winston Shim. How you doing?
I'm good.
So you recently just got an EV, right?
Yes, I have. Yes, not myself, but my wife. But I will be getting myself an EV soon. I'm not sure which brand. Could be an X, could be not. When I say X, I mean Tesla.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Tesla, that's the topic of our first conversation, which is about the North American charging standard, which was something that Elon tried to do something similar back in 2014, where he opened up all of his patents to all of the automotive industry, and he wanted people to use them for kind of a somewhat selfish reason. And the reason why I say that is because when he opened up all his patents, a number of lawyers actually looked at the opening process. Mm-hmm. And what they found out is that under fair use, any manufacturer could use the patents. They have to sign some sort of agreement with Tesla that they won't do a number of things. But the patents were basically free for any of the manufacturers to use. And unfortunately, this is kind of the gotcha. If the manufacturer takes one of Elon's patents and uses it and improves upon that patent, those new improvements belong to the patent, which belong to Elon, which belong to Tesla. Okay.
Right.
Now, let's just say that three manufacturers made three different changes. One of the changes that one of the manufacturers made was very similar to the change that the other manufacturer made.
Okay.
You cannot sue within this patent arrangement.
Because the patent don't belong to you.
They don't belong to you. And any patents, changes and improvements go back to Tesla.
And Tesla owns it all.
Owns all those patents, right?
The new changes.
Any new changes go back to Tesla. Let's just say that you had a disagreement with Tesla about how the supercharger network is set up. Or something about how it's doing something to your customers. And you have a disagreement about the service levels. And this happens all the time, right? With people providing infrastructure and the service levels are just not to their standard.
Right.
You cannot sue Tesla for breach of any contract or any sort of anything. If you do that under this fair use patent arrangement that you signed into, Tesla can turn off all of the charging for all the vehicles that use all of the patents that you are using.
So, in other words, they enabled a backdoor for themselves, or for Tesla themselves, so they can control the patents, basically.
Semi-monopoly because you willingly went into it.
Right.
So that's why first time around, nobody in their right mind wanted to do business with Elon, even though those patents, some of them were very brilliant, to borrow or use any of these patents because they put them in a situation where if any piece of this patent ended up in your vehicle, Tesla can say, hey, whoa, hold on. You're using part of our charging port technology, and that means that, well, you know what? None of your vehicles can charge anymore because you're using our patent. Right? Technically, there's nuances here and everything, and the lawyers were kind of going through a number of these things. But basically, you shouldn't use any of their patents.
It's
open, yes. Did it reduce? There were a number of things that Elon said. It will reduce litigation. It will reduce red tape. It will increase innovation. Yes, for Elon's patents.
Yeah. In other words, it's got that not so much an incentive. In fact, it's got the reverse effect because now I don't want to improve on that design. I just want to just use it and pay a fee, whatever, because it has a larger network, not larger support or larger, infrastructure. I don't want to change anything, but just pay a fee. I think that's similar to some of the other kind of tech, IP companies but you're right. Being Tesla with a large network of charging stations, they have the biggest infrastructure. I think a lot of people, a lot of manufacturers, especially other EV manufacturers, want to get involved because they see a potential there for growth. All I need to do is produce a car, EV, that can take a Tesla charger, charging station, port, whatever, and I have a massive network of charging stations ready to go.
Yeah. So back then, bad deal. If my hot take on this is wrong, please let me know in the comments. But I've read more than one lawyer's take on it, and this is basically my gist of it. Because why would I do that? Like, if I had an organization, if I had any successor in the CEO seat, not aware that something like this could happen, not looking forward enough, and I made the wrong move, and there actually was provisions in this, is that it's pretty open-ended. It's like anything that conflicts with Tesla, they could just choose to turn it all off.
Turn it off.
Right? And that's dangerous.
It's
dangerous.
You got to play by their rules, basically.
It's a shortcut with a very short ending. So let's fast forward to now. Okay. So Elon has developed what he calls the North American Charging Standard, branded as the North American Charging Standard, which is basically the Tesla supercharger network, the connectors and everything related to that, his charging port. And he has set this up to be a charging standard for all vehicles in North America. And he's approached the SAE, which is the Standards Association, to make this a standard, to transfer patents into this governing body so that the things that we talked about earlier will not happen with this specific charging port.
Right.
Okay.
So he's allowed certain patents to go into this approval system.
Yep. The free zone of standards,
but not all patents. So that means I think it will allow car manufacturers, the big ones, especially in the US, GM, Ford, and a few others, to start be able to collaborate and make the kind of the charging. Is that what charging port and the charging system?
The only thing that makes sense for me is that the number of superchargers out there is the most vast, and this gives the automotive industry an incentive to actually get into a network that can charge any of their vehicles. Number one. Number two is that because this standard is, to be honest, it's a little bit more easier to implement due to the sizing and everything and its simplicity. It's actually better in a lot of ways, technically speaking, because it doesn't require huge cables to plug in. Like CCS cables are heavy. A NACS cable on the Tesla cable is much lighter weight, so it's easier for people to access and put into their vehicles. There is a kind of a bit of an issue right now where the port placement isn't optimal for most superchargers because Tesla's back in and their charge ports on the left-hand side. A lot of vehicles actually don't have them on that side. They have it either in the front or the very front of the car near the grille, or the opposite side of the vehicle. So that's got to be worked out. And even Tesla, if they open up their network, they still have to maintain some sort of service level. So they have to extend the cables or add what they call magic docks that allow a CCS cable to be plugged in. So things are being worked out right now. But most automotive manufacturers know that because it's been submitted for SAE standard ratification and everything, that's still not a standard. Each manufacturer has had to make a deal with Tesla to use the charger in the interim while this becomes a standard. Okay, so I don't know what the details are. Obviously, no one really knows yet, but the fact that Tesla will be supplying adapters to all of these manufacturers, Rivian, Ford, like the big players, GM, they're all on board with this. The only holdouts right now are basically the Koreans because they actually have 800 volt infrastructure, which is not compatible with the supercharger network right now. Okay. It's actually a more forward-looking standard, and it slows down the charging compared to what they see as the future, right? So they're still holding on to that. Getting the charge port is good for access, but not having that deal to not be struck down by Tesla's patents in the interim before they become a standard, that's kind of the gray area right now.
Yeah, it's like with anything with Elon. He likes control. He wants to control everything. I mean, if you look at not just the charging Tesla, but also look at SpaceX. I mean,
Yeah.
they are the only ones that I know of right now, which are sending satellites up into the sky in the orbit.
Yeah.
Nobody else is doing it.
Yeah.
And they have right now over 4,000 satellites. Wait, in the next 5 years, we will have over 20,000 of these satellites out there belonging to SpaceX.
Yeah.
What's it for?
I don't know.
Everything from Tesla automated driving to Starlink to everything that controls and watches you, especially with what?
Yeah.
You
So-
said about X.
So back to NACS, we don't know if NACS is a charging port. So as we were talking about the patents behind all the charging port stuff, what if a manufacturer decided to work around something and improve the standard?
Right.
Who would that go to then? Does it go back to Elon?
If it's right now it'd be Elon.
Yeah.
Unless, like you said, if that is approved by the SE, is it SEA? or
SAE.
SE.
Yeah, Standards Association of something.
If they approve it and it's, I won't say belong to them, it'd be under that umbrella. Therefore, it should be open to
It should be
everybody,
open.
right? Right now, it isn't. So
Yeah. But keep in mind though, just because it's a charging port standard doesn't mean that everything behind it controls how the standard works. You might
Yes.
violate or utilize something up the chain because these patents are open. The rest of the patents are open in a bad way.
Yeah.
So if you were to utilize one of those patents up the chain, that will, even though the port is a standard for everyone to
Yes.
use freely, this might still get you into trouble.
Yes. So basically, it could be the port which is approved as a standard. However, who owns the patents? There is a licensing fee or a patent fee which everybody pays.
Yeah.
Basically, it's basically how ARM works.
Yeah.
Right. ARM are a chip designer from the UK. Bought out by SoftBank now, or SoftBank owns them. So they design the chips, design the blueprint for chips, for mobile chips in your iPads, iPhones, iOS phones, and Android phones, everything, right? Snapdragon, Qualcomm, they all use ARM technology. And each of those companies, including Apple, have to pay a licensing fee for using the ARM design in their chips.
So that begs the question, why would 7 manufacturers get together and create a 30,000 strong charging network? Even though all these manufacturers signed with Tesla, they still decide to band together to create their own network. There's something we're maybe missing. But as an EV driver, I don't care where I charge. If I have to charge at a supercharger, that's great. That just gives me more mobility. If these guys roll out their 30,000 strong network by 2025, by the end of that year, and come over to Canada, I'm happy as well too. Customer is happy. But I wonder why they had to do that. Why didn't they just give Elon the money to build more superchargers? We'll have to wait and see because I don't know enough. Maybe you guys know something that we don't. Share in that comment area down below. Okay, so let's move on. We kind of hit the NACS out of the park here as much as we know of our limited knowledge of these patents and everything like that. Again, not lawyers. We're not giving advice for using them or not using them. So we're going to move on to something else that has actually been really interesting lately, and that's the fact that Twitter no longer exists. The bird is dead.
Is it seriously dead? Gone?
The bird is dead.
It can't be revamped?
The $44 billion bird is dead.
Is it taken off from all the offices and...
It's gone.
It's gone completely.
In fact, the emails that Twitter used to send are now from X, and it says X, formerly known as Twitter.
Right. So what are tweets called now?
I have no idea what to call them. Do we still call them tweets? I don't know. Would you still call them tweets even though they're...
Or kisses.
Let me know in the
kisses,
comments. Right?
So when you sign something, you put an X at the end of your signature.
That's a kiss.
That's a kiss, right?
Yeah. And
the
it's
kisses.
a hug. Yep.
Send us your kisses, mate.
So he bought a $44 billion company because I think his ego wouldn't let him not.
Yeah,
and then he destroyed the name and named it something that he already owned, which was X.
X Corp.
X Corp,
Was it
X.com.
Okay.
That was before PayPal. That was basically what he wanted to name PayPal.
Yeah,
Before
yeah.
Peter Thiel and everyone kicked them out.
But he sold that for a lot of money, didn't he? Right?
He got some money from that. And he
Yeah.
started, the rocket company and the Tesla company.
Yeah.
And then he kicked more people out of Tesla.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Right? Because it started as I want to build a cool sports car. That happened. But then
The Tesla Roadster.
the Tesla Roadster
That was one of the expensive but fast car.
it was basically, there were two guys that were the original partners. And when Elon came in, he started to install his own people. And the board basically kicked them out because they were his board. His brother was on the board. Some other people were on the board.
Right.
And they kicked them out. Initially, Tesla was supposed to be a sports car company. And Elon had bigger ideas than that.
Yeah.
And one of the people that was on board for that transition into a bigger company was Peter Rawlinson, who now is the guy behind Lucid.
Oh, right.
Right.
Okay.
So he went over there because probably he couldn't deal with Tesla and Elon's hardcore work policies. Right.
True. So, I mean, Tesla as a company has gone through ups and downs.
Yeah.
I remember one story that he almost went bankrupt. He asked money from, I think it was Apple and Microsoft. They both rejected. And But good on him because he actually turned the company around and is making electric vehicles, driving electric vehicles, as in driving the industry with their EVs. They were the first ones to mass produce EVs for the public. And Fidus, I would say they were one of the to me anyway, they were one of the pioneers in terms of EVs.
Okay. So
That's my thoughts.
will Elon be able to turn X into a Tesla? That is the question because the guy has a following on Twitter, which is now X.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this following is very much blind to all the mistakes that he makes, his character flaws and everything like that. And these types of people are not the type of people you want surrounding you in management.
It's not. No, I won't say it's not toxic. What's one of those crazy owners? There's a word for them. Eccentric.
Eccentric.
Yeah.
So they rally behind him, flaws and all, but like in a business environment, you have to have people that genuinely oppose you and give you options.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And you could land yourself in trouble legally, which he has done.
Yes.
He's been tweeting some random crap and has got himself into trouble with Tesla.
Of course, with SEC and everyone else, because there's certain ways that you conduct yourself as a corporation, and he doesn't operate that way.
Yeah.
He doesn't operate that way. So there are plans for X. One of them has to do with payment methods.
Right.
Which he started with, right?
Mm-hmm.
X was PayPal. How's that all going to come about? Because, I mean...
What's that app in China that is similar?
Weibo?
WeChat. That incorporates messaging, photo sharing, comments, and also a payment system, which I think a lot of people just use in China, where they pay stuff like tap your phone
and
payment,
fully surveilled by the government for social credit purposes, right?
That's right.
And one thing that the rich in China like to do is they like to put their WeChat code up on the screen at nightclubs, and they give $1 to everyone that scans it,
scans
right?
it,
So this is a status, a way to flex and everything like that. But you know what? I don't see this being as popular in North America because a lot of people still want to pay by checks. Still want to pay by cash.
Because Visa, MasterCard have protections, which payment systems don't.
Yes.
If you look at payment systems went down recently, although they're not really, they are payment systems, but more crypto, they went down like a ton of flies, right?
Yeah.
Like FTX, like Celsius, like BlockFi, they all went down.
Oh, by the way,
no protection.
We need to fill out our paperwork for Celsius, and we might get some money back. So if you're Celsius lost, one of the people that lost some money, like we are, please fill out your paperwork and look at your emails.
Emails.
There's an extra step that you need to take. But more on that at some point.
Yeah.
So X.
X. So another thing I also kind of like thinking, hey, will Elon take kind of the X payment system, integrate it into X, and then on top of that incorporate crypto? Because he's always been into like the Doge thing, right?
But I still don't understand why he got rid of the $44 billion name. Everyone tweets, Twitters, and everything. I mean, this is the brand name.
Yeah, it's a brand name, isn't it?
Like even even his new CEO, she can't even explain it. She doesn't actually have a good reason why anyone would do this.
That's the problem. If you become a CEO of any of Elon's company, you can't do your job.
You're not in charge.
You're not in charge. Elon's in charge. Although you're the CEO, the chief executive officer, which should supposedly be the top of the ladder of that company, you can't do anything without.
Yeah, you're basically if you have a top level position at any of Elon's companies, you are a useful idiot. Anything that happens badly, he can actually point a finger at you and fire you. It's not his fault.
But it is his fault.
It is his fault, but it's not.
Yeah.
So that's really that's shady and sleazy.
Yeah, that's true. There's plenty of things happening for Twitter. X now. X's still going on, and I can see payment system integrating that. I can see more photo sharing, more videos.
Yeah,
because I think that's going to happen. I'm sure of it. The video sharing side of it is, if you look at Reels and Shorts on, YouTube and Facebook, they're very popular. I can see that happening with Twitter. Oh, sorry, X.
X.
Twitter
now, speaking of Meta and all that stuff going on, a certain app showed up all of a sudden, which has some very Twitter-like tendencies. It's called Threads. Yeah. And basically the user base is anyone that's on Instagram can transfer into an account.
Or Facebook.
Yeah. I like Threads a lot. It reminds me a lot of old Twitter.
Yeah. I'm still kind of figuring out how to use it. But I mean, I know what it is. I know how to share it. I know how to post it. But first of all, why? Second, is it a direct competitor to Twitter or X? Because if you think about it, you can actually share content from Instagram, which is a photo, video sharing thing, to Facebook.
Yes.
Now you have Threads.
Yes.
Where do I follow you? Like, is it Facebook, Instagram, Threads?
No, you follow me on Threads if you want.
But if I post on Threads, it won't get shown on Facebook or Twitter.
Nope.
So am I only following you on Threads only?
You would know of me from Instagram. You more than likely I have a Threads account, but it's different content. Like for example, if I want to find out terrible things happening in the world, I go to X. If I want rainbows and butterflies and positive affirmations and like decent people having conversations, I seem to go to Threads more often. So basically, everything that is bad in the world, X. Everything that's like positive, that's a great looking piece of art. Threads.
So an advice could be use these different platforms for different things, right? So if you're doing your photos, then Instagram. If you're sharing personal stuff, because you have to be friends at Facebook, right? Then you can post some personal stuff on Facebook, friends only. For Threads, it's because it's open, right? It's not
Threads
closed.
is completely open. It's exactly the same way.
So it's public.
Yeah.
So now if you want to share something public, then go to Threads. So I guess depending on privacy status, you can post certain things on these different platforms based on your privacy.
Yeah. Well, we have access to Mark Zuckerberg on Threads. He's talking to people. He's in there having a conversation. He's just like how you have access to Elon, but he's not as toxic. There's a different. The room is different on Threads,
and he can get into hot seat or hot bed, I should say, whatever. With people, I mean, there was one case when he was. It was a tragedy. Well, it actually wasn't a tragedy. Actually, rescued cave divers in Thailand, right? And there's a lot of people out there. International people wanted to help, and Elon says, "Yeah, use one of our submarines." And one of the guys says, "No, the cave you can't fit a submarine in there." And it started a kind of war of words on Twitter.
Yeah. He got into it with a professional diver that's probably done way more cave rescues, and his SpaceX crap would have gotten in the way,
and
or
also
maybe hurt someone.
he defamed him somehow, or he said something really bad to him.
He said a word, and it wasn't a nice word.
It wasn't a nice word, and
No.
he threatened to sue him. The one, So
Elon basically said that it's something that is South African that people say to other people all the time, and I don't think so.
yeah,
I
and
don't
it's
think
also
so.
to do with kids as well.
Yeah,
it's a
so-
bad word.
yeah, it's a bad-
If
bad
you're,
thing.
yeah.
I'm not going to repeat it here, but if you want to read about it, it's out there.
It's out there. So he uses his platform, Elon, to vent his kind of not aggression. It's just trolling, right?
He's
Is that
the
trolling?
ultimate troll.
Yeah,
He's the
yeah.
ultimate troll.
Talking about trolls, he wasn't he was gonna do something with Mark? Because when Threads was released or launched, Elon wanted to sue him, right?
He was a little upset that there was this competitor out there that looked
Yeah.
like what his platform was in the good old days
Yeah.
before it became a toxic wasteland of dumpster fires. And Threads has actually been thriving. Yes, the people have fallen off recently because they just, the newness of the platform and everything. But I think that they also have a stickiness that is actually quite good. People that are sticking around for it because it is such a much more positive place.
Yeah.
You'll find that people there are much more willing to engage in more positive ways and also explain themselves and take a little bit of responsibility for what they say.
It's very again this is more kind of like I said, the old Twitter, right?
It's a different room,
Yeah.
and you have access to all of the people like you used to. Because before Twitter became what it is today, people like celebrities and everything were accessible on that platform because it didn't have that toxicity that plagues it today.
Yeah.
Threads has a similar vibe to it because Adam Mosseri, which is the head of Instagram, Mark Zuckerberg, which is the head of Meta, they're both on the platform having conversations.
Yeah.
And they're talking to other celebrities.
It's how the old days of
it's remarkable. These are real conversations happening in real time. I quite like it. And even if I don't engage, I like seeing these conversations.
Yeah, I'm
right?
talking about competitiveness. Isn't he gonna have a match like a?
Yes. Apparently, Elon Musk wants to fight Mark Zuckerberg, and I think more than anything else, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't want to hurt Elon Musk because then he would become the bad guy. I mean, Elon doesn't. He looks like he's completely helpless in the ring, whereas Mark Zuckerberg, that guy is fit as.
Yeah, he
is
actually does sports, especially I think it's martial arts. I can't remember which one, but he does martial arts as an exercise, as a sport himself, Mark Zuckerberg. So, but Elon, I heard that he's been starting to do some training. How well will this fight go down? I'm not sure.
You can't. I don't think that you could level up your martial arts skills in 2 months.
No,
you cannot do that. I don't even think Elon Musk even has any martial arts skills at all documented.
I heard that he's going to hire some lookalike from China. Have you seen that lookalike?
Yeah, but I think he's enhanced. There's just no. Okay, so the latest news is that Elon has gotten the help of some Italian mayor for his town to host it at a coliseum or something, some spectacular venue that he and Mark can fight in, and that Mark is just not taking this seriously because things keep changing.
Yeah. Okay.
So by the time that this actually happens, maybe Elon will be 50 pounds lighter. Maybe he will have like a orange belt or a blue belt or something. But no matter what happens, if Mark Zuckerberg chooses to fight Elon Musk, he kind of becomes the bully because he's going to mop the ring with him.
Well,
right?
You could say, well, Elon, you deserve this. Give it a 1-2.
Yeah, but at the same time, yes, he was asking for that. Yes. That is what most people want. They want him to get his due. But at the same time, if Mark is the kinder of the two, if he's the gentleman, he'll walk away and wash his hands.
It's an unfair fight. I
No,
think
it's
it's
an
just
unfair fight.
I think it's just banter, just a little bit of trolling. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen, and if it does happen, it's not in the way that Elon thinks it will, because I think Mark is much more. No matter how you think of Mark Zuckerberg, I think Mark Zuckerberg is much more classy than that. I don't think that he's willing to put himself in that situation where he actually hurts somebody that has no way of defending himself.
During the early days of Mark Zuckerberg, he used to be a right old cocky, full of himself and arrogant. He's matured a lot, and I think it's not just running the business, but also seeing how the world is and everything. And he's doing a lot of philanthropy.
Yeah, but he also has kids too, and his kids will see him as a villain for picking on the Tesla guy.
The old guy.
Like you don't want that. You don't want your kids to think of you that way. And no matter what, they're going to think what they think. But that's not such a good look for him if he picks on the old guy. Yes.
Yeah. In terms of company wise, I think Mark should involve himself with new ventures. Yeah. Like new businesses rather than just the online kind of platform. He's already mastered that. I think he should involve himself with other businesses.
He doesn't have hardware. He doesn't have hardware, and I think that's missing in his stack.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a tangent, but one of his projects, the Ray-Ban glasses, 90% of the people that bought them don't use them anymore.
Oh, right.
Right? They basically abandoned the platform. So those Ray-Ban glasses are no good.
Useless.
No, people don't use them at all.
And did he buy Oculus though?
He bought Oculus, and that's doing very well. But Apple.
Oh, Vision Pro.
Vision Pro is around the corner. And that experience, according to a lot of people, it's not as...
I don't know.
It's it makes Meta's offering really archaic.
Right, because that's what you mean. It's the amount of technology in that Vision Pro is like
the amount of money that Mark Zuckerberg has put into that platform is a lot. So to have Apple come up, and I guess this is why they kind of don't like each other at the moment.
Well, Apple is a $3 trillion company.
Yeah.
I mean, they could put a lot of money in developing the Apple Pro, the Vision Pro.
And they could still fail and be like, heck, you know what? We made a mistake here. No problem. Moving on. iPhone 17. Look at this. Aluminium.
Well, we'll talk about that some other time because of the USB-C. Right. So with X now, right? Mm-hmm. So X, although Elon is who he is, and some people like him, some people don't. I'm like, But if you look at his innovations and his companies that he's developed, for example, Hyperloop. Do you know any people know what Hyperloop is?
Most people know it from Las Vegas. It's basically Tesla's driving around in a tunnel.
Yeah. So that technology, although I think the Japanese have actually also developed or involved with that, is the basically magnetic levitation.
Yeah, maglev.
Maglev.
They have a train that from the Beijing airport to the city that's on the maglev.
Yeah, maglev.
That's many years old.
Using magnetic levitation technology to propel yourself across many
very fast.
Very fast.
Yeah, no friction.
So if you think about it, I'm not sure in Asia, but in the US, I think he's one of only a few companies actually developing this kind of technology there. Of course, SpaceX is an amazing company. Mm-hmm. This is the first time I've seen a vertical rocket coming down and landing. I was like, what? It's like science fiction, right? It happened. Of course, many crash tests and everything.
Yes,
but when it happened on that day, vertical rocket coming down and landing on that spot, if you got to see it, because for me, it was so emotional because it was something like, wow. Never in my lifetime would I thought it would happen, right? Yep. But it was SpaceX that did it. And also all the rockets, satellites, and most of NASA satellites are launched using SpaceX rockets.
Yeah.
So, credits.
Right now,
credits is due where it's due. And, it's
good business for them now that Russia went to war with Ukraine, because now all of the payloads are sent via SpaceX because they're no longer using the rocket platform in Russia.
And also, don't forget the Mars mission, although it's just talked about, but he is planning something.
Oh, yeah. This is playing out like the Apple the Apple show For All Mankind, where you've got the eccentric billionaire that's kind of a dick. And, he's got this vision and he's like, no one's going to get in the way of my vision. And he sends a spacecraft to Mars and with like the coolest suits and everything like that. And their NASA is like, from behind, they're trying to catch up and everything like that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's an interesting time for this tech leader, for better or for worse. But he is putting many industries on guard because first automotive, many players are now playing with him, taking him more seriously. Now we've got social media. People are taking him a lot more seriously for better or for worse. And will it become a payment platform? Heck, I don't know. I don't use Twitter like that, and I barely trust it right now. So I can't see me giving them money. And then we've got this troll fight. This is classic Elon, poking the bear, right? I mean, what did Mark do to you? Like he launched Threads, big deal, right? No, just sue him, do that stuff. But nope, got to be a cage fight somewhere. And I think there was something else we wanted to touch on.
What else? I'm trying to think now.
Yeah, we're thinking there's 4 things that he did.
It was basically the charging stations that and then of course the Twitter, X, the Threads,
and then the troll fight,
the fights, the cage fight, and of course some of his companies that he's been dealing with. I think that's pretty much it. Okay. I can't think of anything else unless he comes up with like renaming X again to something else.
I don't see that happening. I think that X was always his end game to make something X, and now he's done it for a sum total of $44 billion, plus all of the rent that he owes the people that... How does he get away with that? Like, he hasn't paid rent. Can't they evict him from the building in San Francisco?
I think so. The funny thing is, it's not just... I thought he owns the building, right?
No, he does not.
Oh, doesn't he? Just rents it?
Twitter owes rent.
Okay. Well, they could say, the Twitter company is no more. It's now X. So what is formerly Twitter, the Twitter is gone. End of business. Close. Right? They closed the company down. And now the company is called X. So it's a different company.
Elon, pay your bills.
Right.
Really?
True. Pay your bills.
On that really depressing kind of toxic note, we must end. And I'm sure there will be more Elon news in the coming weeks, but we're going to try to touch on these in batches because it's so it evolves.
Yeah. You can't take too much because if you put everything into X and they throw it at you, it's like too much. I can't bear it anymore. It's just too much.
Okay, so if you want to talk some more about. If you want to talk to us on Threads, I'm available at Stephen Fung on Threads, on X as at Stephen Fung, and also on the other Mark Zuckerberg platform at Instagram as at Stephen Fung. Winston, you're also on those 3 platforms as well, right?
Yeah, Instagram at Winston Chim, on Threads, same name, right?
Yeah, same name.
Yeah,
same name.
at Winston Chim, and then of course the XXX.
Yep.
At Winston Chim.
Yeah, after hours, you can find us there. But if you want to kind of keep the conversation fresh and give us ideas for our next podcast, because I know that you are the people that influence these. Sometimes we get the odd occasional message from someone. Sometimes we don't. But, we always have kind of these questions in our mind of what do you want next? And the only way that we can figure that out is if you leave a comment below and say, hey, guys, I want a show about this. Can you do that? Yeah, we can, if you comment. But until next week, let us know your thoughts, and we'll see you again on Wednesday at noon, exclusively on YouTube at our podcast show. Until next time, from Winston and I, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.